Well, we're talking to Ban Bywaters. Ban, welcome to Pegasus News World Headquarters.
Thank you very much. It's a
And
pleasure to be here.
You're affectionately known as Dr. Choo Choo.
You got it.
And so you've been working with the folks doing the trains at NorthPark for how many years now?
This is our 12th season at NorthPark.
Okay. And give us a bit of your background in the model railroading field.
Started out like every child in the early 50s that had trains. They just went around the Christmas tree and we saved them. And my father was a independent oil producer at the time and traveled a lot. So every Christmas he would take out the week before Christmas and the week after Christmas and would not travel. And we would just hound him to get the electric trains out and set them up, not because we particularly liked the electric trains. It was because we got one-on-one time with our father, and he'd get down on the floor with us and we'd be putting track together and testing stuff and having a good time. So that's how it really got started. Then when I was about 10 years old, maybe 11, we put them in the boxes in the attic, and we never messed with them again. Well, then the first year I got married, we didn't have two pennies to rub together. So at Christmas, we had a little rent house, and I'd raised a Norfolk pine to be about 3.5, 4 feet tall, and I decorated that. And I said, "Well, Kathleen, what do you think?" And she says, "That's really nice, but that's not what I signed on for." So, being the consummate salesman, I refer to it as divine intervention out of my mouth. Well, we had to leave room for the electric trains, and so I went over and asked my dad if they still had them. And he said, "Yes, we do, I think, but you're welcome to go up in the attic and see if you can find them." So I went up in the attic and found them, and by then I could do some rudimentary repair work on them, and I got them running and took them back to our little rent house and went all through our rent house. And so I would come home from the office. It was the old Dallas Federal Savings and Loan Building. It's where I was working. I'd come home this neighborhood, and there was a whole house full of people I didn't know down on the floor playing electric trains. My first job was to lease that office building, and we couldn't get anybody to come in to see it. So the following Christmas, I asked Mr. Bowles if he wanted, I would put together a Christmas display and see if we could get some people interested in coming and seeing the building by coming to seeing the electric trains.
Yeah.
He didn't fire me. He said, "Yeah, go ahead and do it." And it was interesting because I built it on one of the vacant floors and on 4x8 sheets of plywood, took it down there to the lobby and set it up. It was only open 2 weeks out of the year, the week before Christmas, the week after Christmas, and the old toys could only run for 30 minutes at a time or they'd overheat. So I had to come up with a marketing plan of how to and when to run them. So using great creativity, I said 10, 2, and 4. Because everybody in Texas knew that.
Yeah.
It was Dr. Pepper, and then we added 6 o'clock at night. And in that 2-week period, we brought in all 4 TV stations at the time, did a segment on it. And we brought in 25,000 people and opened 1,000 accounts.
Amazing.
That's how the trains got started.
Now tell us how the NorthPark train display started out.
Well, the year that we started doing it for the public was down at when the Crescent was new. I believe that was back in 1988. And they asked if I would come down and maybe do some little train thing for them. Well, as Peter Wolf, the set design group, had put together a fantasy forest above where Stanley Korshak is. And I walked in, and the set designer, the architect, folded out this long set of blueprints, and it was an architectural rendering of this train set. And he said in a very condescending tone, "This is Santa Claus. This is supposed to be Santa Claus's electric train set. Can you build it?" I mean, I'm hard-headed enough. When you send me that kind of a challenge, I said, "Of course I can build it." Went home, told my wife, I said, "Kathleen, I don't know what I've signed on for. I don't know if I can build it or not." And we did it that first year, and brought in several thousand people to that place, and that's when we realized it was a economic viable project for charity. Next year, my wife was working with the Ronald McDonald House, and Ms. Hunt asked that 3 of us each bring a charity to her to present, so she would select one. Well, the Ronald McDonald House at that time was 5 years old, and Barbara McDermott, who's a tremendous administrator at the Ronald McDonald House, she could run any major corporation in the city, I'm convinced, gave me all the marketing materials I needed to answer all the questions, and I went in, and it was just a laydown for Ms. Hunt.
Yeah.
12 years ago, we made the move to NorthPark. Nancy Hamasaker and her father, they've just been great partners. Without them, we'd be out of business. And it's just been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So tell us, what is involved to make those vast cityscapes that are so detailed?
Well, Diaz Arts is a scenic set design group who actually fabricated the set and all the scenes that you see for the display. It was necessary to have somebody of their caliber construct the set because it has to be broken down and stored. It's stored in 7 18-wheeler tractor-trailer containers.
Wow.
But with their artistic approach, they were able to do a lot of forced perspective, like the Statue of Liberty is way out of proportion to the trains, but it works in that particular set. The Dallas Reunion Arena, the big ball, is way out of proportion, but it works when you use the 1/4 inch to the foot scale trains. It makes them look smaller in that larger space. So I worked with my chief engineer, Ricky Arista, and we put all the tracks on and did all the detail associated with the trains, like the little buildings and the lights and the kids on the swings and that sort of thing. So we work together as a team.
Gotcha.
to make it happen.
Yeah. Now, does it change from year to year? Is there anything new this year that wasn't there?
Every year we change a little bit. We were able to take the layout and stretch it out, especially at the far end where that used to be the back wall. We added a total of 8 feet. Well, that now is a 16-foot vignette that we've made that's a rail yard.
So does it give you a great deal of personal satisfaction when you go out there and you see the kids going through the display?
That's the whole reason I do it. It's a riot. And all my engineers, most of them have been with me almost 15 years to 22 years. They're all great individuals, come from all different walks of life and different occupations, but they come out there and they come together and they really are doing it because of the kids. It's fun to watch them just get all excited and run back and forth and have a great time.
Yeah.
At our house, I do not have any kind of a permanent layout. So that's really probably the biggest shock to people, is that I don't constantly play with trains.
Yeah.
The one exception is before my father died, I bought collected with him 6 sets of the 1930s trains. They're called standard gauge. They're twice the size of the Lionels that you and I grew up with. And these are reproductions, and they've got all the latest electronics in it. And once a year we'll set them up in our house, because we go back to that original, run it through the house,
nice.
Which we like doing. And they're all kind of remote control. And so we give everybody a control and say, okay, y'all run the trains. I don't like running them. I like other people to run them. And it's fun.
Well, Ban, why should people go out to NorthPark and see the trains this year?
Well, there's several reasons. First of all, it's turned into a family tradition for many families in the Dallas area, and really throughout the United States. We've actually had people come in from California, and they do it on a regular basis, or even New York. But most importantly, it's inexpensive family entertainment in these pretty rough economic times. People can go in there and spend as long as they want. There's nothing to buy. They don't have to worry about their child saying, I want Santa Claus to bring this to me, because it's bigger than most people's houses. So it's a very fun, safe environment for families. The other thing is the economic reason for doing the trains is to support the Dallas Ronald McDonald House. And it's really serious business for them. It creates about 40% of their operating budget. And it's very expensive to put this stuff up and take it down. And so the patronage is critical. And so people can really get a really good feel for the season. And it's a lot of fun.